This conference will now be recorded.
You may begin the meeting, Dr. Schottenstein.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, did my camera turn off? It sure did. How'd that happen? There we go. Can you see me okay, too?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So, again, good morning. The February 10th, 2021 Finance Committee meeting will come to order with the following members present: Dr. Safran.
Present.
And myself, Michael Schottenstein. Thank you. So,
If I can just point out, Mr. Ganadakis has just arrived.
Oh, and Mr. Ganadakis is with us. Nice to see you. And so, looking at our fiscal update for December 2020, revenue was $613,513. That's a significant dip in revenue from November, when we received approximately $2 million in revenue. You may recall that was a function of our licensees meeting the December 1st deadline for renewal, which had been extended for all of our licensees. Subsequently, there was another delay in the renewal deadline until July 1st. So the decrease in revenue is likely a function, once again, of our licensees delaying their renewal of their licenses. What's different this time about the renewal extension is that the delay to July 1st only applies to those licensees who would have had to renew between December 1st and March 31st. So a licensee, for instance, with a renewal deadline of March 31st has until July 1st to renew because of the extension. But a licensee with a renewal deadline of April 1st has to renew on April 1st. Again, this is different than the previous licensure renewal deadline extension, which applied to all of our licensees up until December 1st. So I'm concerned this could get confusing for some of our licensees. And so we're going to start sending out email communications again, reminding our licensees of the benefits of renewing early. Another aggravation for our licensees is that the renewal deadline extension does not carry forward in an ongoing way. The renewal fee is due in each biennium. So if somebody has a 6-month renewal deadline extension, it just means that they need to pay their next licensure renewal fee 1.5 years later instead of 2 years later. We are halfway through our fiscal year. That's always a good time to take stock. You may note that our cash balance is still quite high by historical standards at $6,599,624. That should act as a cushion over the next several months with regard to the anticipated decrease in revenue because of the renewal deadline extension. And again, we should recoup that revenue from the deadline extension later in the fiscal year, just as we saw in November 2020 with the previous deadline extension. With regard to our spending, we only just received the invoice from DAS for the past 4 months of rent, totaling $124,000 and various other services they provide. That will reflect in the January 2021 numbers as a spike in expenditures. And combined with an anticipated drop in revenue because of the licensure renewal deadline, it will negatively impact our cash balance. We also just received a $333,000 invoice for e-license services from DAS. That will show up in either the January or February numbers, and credit card processing fees continue to trickle in. But again, this is more a function of cash flow, and everything should even out by the end of the fiscal year. Let's see. There we go. No fines were assessed or collected in December. Any questions or discussion regarding the financial update so far? Yes, Mr. Ganadakis, hi.
Hi, good morning. Susan, question for Susan or anyone for that matter, of the licensees who have not renewed and taken advantage of the extension to do so, what's the percentage? Are we, 50% renewed, or is 100% waiting? What's the status of that compared to where we are financially?
The people that normally renew in January 1st, last I checked, about 60% renewed. So, that could people could keep trickling in. Our next big renewal date is April 1st. That would also be bypassed. So we'll take a look at that again in April. And we will be sending out messaging to people like we did last time, that it's beneficial to not wait till the last minute and to keep their license current. So we did get quite a few people renew when we did that last time.
Okay, so in your opinion, or guesstimation, I should say, how big is this bucket of licensees that have not renewed that will have to by date certain here in the future? that normally would have by now?
I believe right now it's probably about 4,000.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
kindly. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
yes, sir.
You mentioned moments ago, Dr. Schottenstein, in your report, that we received our a bill from DAS for, I think you said, I believe, 4 months worth of rent, and that reminded me to ask again about spacing issues and when are we going to reduce our footprint, and should we be having those conversations now before we have to renew our lease?
I think we are having those conversations now. Stephanie, I'm guessing you can speak more to that.
Yeah, so we've done our goal, our internal goal is to make that determination and be in ready state by the beginning of next fiscal year. So starting July 1st of our next fiscal year with only the third floor as our space. We're working toward that right now. We are having conversations internally with the management team of bucketing employees in 3 different categories. So we'll have some who are primarily office-based. We'll have some who are what we consider a hybrid state. And so they have some days in the office and some days working from home. And then we have others who we plan to transition 100% work to home. Once we have those positions slotted, and we have plenty of space on the third floor to accommodate, those who will be hybrid and primarily office-based, having office space here. We'll have plenty of space on the third floor. In addition to that space on the third floor, we'll also have hoteling space. So those who are working from home have the opportunity to come in. If it's like, let's say, a training day or we have an all-staff meeting, there will be space available for them. So really, we just need to finalize our floor plans. I've seen a draft of those. We're getting the buckets of people right. It probably won't come as a surprise to you that when you start talking about floor plans, people get really, really opinionated about where their offices are going to be. And so we're getting the buckets right first and making sure that we have the people slotted substantively the right way. And then our plan is to probably roll that floor plan out just for our senior team and the managers to just do a gut check on that next week. And then we'll start those conversations with DAS about, getting to the point where July 1st. I don't think we could give up this space before July 1st anyway. So, I think we're kind of stuck with it until that point anyway.
Okay. And then Stephanie, have you anticipated, or are we going to be realizing some one-time hard costs to transition from second floor to all third floor? Are we going to be buying laptops for those that will be permanently at home? So, are we contemplating the impact on the budget for those one-time fixed costs to do a consolidation? We are. And Joel, I know you might remember the numbers off the top of your head a little bit better than me. We actually, as part of our IT kind of capital spend, have been thinking through this anyway. So we need to replace some of our equipment regardless. And so now we'll be able to do that in a way that we're sort of working through the, who gets what type of equipment. Our 100% work from home folks will probably actually end up with a desktop computer at home because they won't be moving back and forth with it, and it's cheaper and it's a little more reliable and a whole lot less expensive to fix. So we'll likely have the 100% from homes replace their desktops. Desktops here needed to be replaced anyway. We're sort of at the tail end of our laptop and desktop spend. So yes, that's all been kind of part of the plan. We all are working from laptops now because of when we went out, we sort of mobilized quickly and some of the equipment isn't ideal. We'll have to look at that. We were going to have to look at that anyway. I don't think the equipment piece is going to be an extraordinary spend. Probably our biggest spend is going to be the physical move itself. So the conversations we've had internally, we've talked about, you get into a new office, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. There's furniture in there and it's all workable furniture. We work for the state. It all functions. And so we don't anticipate internal spend. We won't have to do any remodeling. So it will just be really the physical move, I think, of folks just getting people reallocated. Okay.
Joel, do you remember what just kind of first, don't hold us to it, but what we think number might be?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as IT equipment, we're looking at under $20,000 to do this. And I think floor space wise, Susan, you could probably answer this, but I think we're spending at least $30,000 on the second floor currently, maybe $35,000. So we should even out a little bit.
And that $35,000, Joel, that's in rent
Correct.
per month?
Sorry, no.
No, no,
Per year?
I don't remember the number, but I was thinking it was something like 15,000 quarterly, but I could be wrong. I don't have that right in front of me. I can get that for you.
Okay. So it conceivably is a couple years to sort of recoup that, but then we start coming out ahead down the road.
Yeah.
That sound right?
Yeah.
And so Dr. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and so what I would say about the IT spend, we will have to bring that back to you all at finance, I would assume, when we start going through that. So we'll have a better breakdown of the purchase costs when we, kind of start allocating that out. So you'll see those come through finance, because it will be a spend at some point that we would normally bring regardless.
Dr. Bechtel.
Yes, I had a couple questions for Stephanie. Do we have any indication when the state will allow employees to start coming back to the office? So no indication there.
We have not heard anything about a return.
And then in making the moving offices, would that be done by state employees, or do we have to contract somebody to do that?
Yeah, so it will be done by contract. So there are, I think it's statutory. We actually have to start with OPI. So we use DRC state employees, and we do pay a fee for that. But it's typical. That's a normal kind of thing that we would do, is we would go through OPI to make the move.
Okay, thank you.
And we would try to do it all at once to sort of minimize disruption and cost.
Thank you. I would say too, just for the record, that in terms of that bucket of employees that we're contemplating working from home full time, it's the licensure staff that we're substantially contemplating in that regard. Stephanie, any hint of when board meetings may go live again and in person?
No, we've not heard anything.
Okay, just curious.
At some point, the law expires allowing us to do that. And I was actually thinking about that on my way in this morning. I can't remember if that's July 1st or I actually don't remember the return date, but we can get back to you on that. But that's the last we've heard.
Just curious. I think it was July 1st.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So just a few more thoughts. We have a budget update. Our request for our expansion budget was approved by OBM. The governor's office sent it to the House and Senate, which must still approve it. We had requested $12.3 million for fiscal year 22 and $12.5 million for fiscal year 23. OBM cut $125,000 from each of the fiscal year requests, but otherwise passed the language through largely unchanged, including approving our request for 6 additional positions: 1 enforcement attorney, 3 investigators, a victim advocate, and a medical director. If our needs change, we have the ability to modify those positions to meet our current needs. So for example, instead of 1 enforcement attorney and 3 investigators, maybe we instead hire 2 enforcement attorneys and 2 investigators. Maybe instead of hiring a medical director, we hire another hearing examiner, because we are getting stretched thin in that area from a work capacity standpoint, and it's something that could potentially slow us down. Stephanie will testify in the House and the Senate, and then hopefully our budget will be approved. We feel cautiously optimistic the legislature will approve our proposed budget. We have relatively low licensure fees compared to other similarly sized boards, and we have not increased our fees in 20 years. Any questions about the budget update?
As Steph just stressed, that I think we might still be the only licensing board in Ohio that's reduced fees in the past 6 or 7 years. So, no one else reduces them except for us, which is, that's a badge of honor. In my opinion. So
I agree. Thank you for that. Finally, we have an order of new business. The medical board currently employs 2 full-time hearing examiners and utilizes the services of Rhonda Szymanski, a private attorney, for contract hearing examiner services as the need arises. Historically, we have an annual contract with Ms. Szymanski that does not exceed $50,000, currently $48,925. However, this year, due to factors that I will subsequently describe, we would like to amend Ms. Szymanski's contract to $68,925. Contracts over $50,000 which are not competitively bid must be approved by the controlling board. Due to the pandemic and delays in fiscal year 20, the board's hearing unit is experiencing an increasingly heavy caseload this year, with many of the cases resulting in complex multi-day hearings. The hearing unit has 55 days of hearings scheduled during the first half of 2021, as compared to 20 days during the first half of last year. Additionally, there's been a drastic increase in the number of prescribing standard of care cases, which are notably complex. The hearing unit currently has 12 of these cases on its docket, as compared to 4 during all of last year. The board's current hearing process timeline does not allow for a transition of work or training to bring another hearing examiner up to speed during the current fiscal year. Ms. Szymanski has years of familiarity with the board's hearing processes and has the experience necessary to seamlessly take on large, complex cases without requiring additional training or assistance. Approval of this request will allow us to stay on schedule for the remainder of the fiscal year by assigning additional cases to Ms. Szymanski. Next fiscal year, we intend to seek out other qualified attorneys that can assist us in completing this work. Is there any discussion regarding this matter? So may I have a motion then, please, to recommend to the full board that the executive director seek controlling board approval to amend Ms. Szymanski's contract to $68,925?
So moved.
Dr. Safran?
Second.
Mr. Gandadakis, thank you kindly. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Any other finance committee business for today? Stephanie, hi.
Just one note. I think we need to clarify the IT spend. It's 15 to 20,000 for next year will be the outlay. I don't know if that's what you all heard. I don't think that's what I heard. I heard a higher number. I just want to make sure that everybody heard what I heard. So or that you hear the right thing. It's about a $15 to $20,000 spend on IT when we go to the kind of the new working arrangements, which again would be very in line with the capital spend anyway for what we have to do for replacements.
So requesting that extra 20 just gives us some cushion then, it sounds like.
No, so I'm sorry. So it's
you're saying for IT
out of our normal agency operations. In fact, we probably have saved that much, if not more, in office supplies this year. We're down so far in office supply spending that we can probably pay for that out of our office supply save.
And our normal IT spend every year is around 20,000 anyway. So it's almost like a normal recycle of getting fresh equipment.
So that $100,000 number we heard earlier is not accurate?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clarifying that. Any other finance committee matters today? Okay. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you kindly. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Pleasure. Thanks, everybody, and see you soon.
This conference is no longer being recorded.